So just me being who I am. When I came back from Kemet with Baba Kwesi, I sat down with a good friend of mine by the name of Maruki Baruti, and just basically explaining to him what the ideal woman for me would be. And of course, again, back to what I said, because I know myself, I know what the ideal woman would be for me. And as we were in Harlem, we were eating, and he told me that that he thinks he knows the right person for me. And he started to describe her, and I was loving what I was hearing. And what's ironic about that, I found out later on that his queen, who when he was talking about me to his queen was in his ear telling him, I think True would be good for Malkia. I think True would be good for Malkia. Introduce him. But he thought I wasn't ready, because he seen me, I was out, doing my thing. So he was like, True's not ready. Malkia's a serious sister, and he's not ready right now. But after we had that conversation, he realized, okay, he must be ready now. So just by me being who I am, not trying to impress nobody, not, at that time I wasn't looking. I was fed up with looking. I was, and her being who she was, just a mother, being a social worker, a vegan coming in with certain food. She's very outspoken. She started a African club for the youth at the school. And so when my brother would describe me to his queen, she was, they would be like, wow, they thought that will be a good match. So make a long story short, they finally decided to introduce us. And when I met her, the reason how I knew, besides the fact her ideology and different things is on point, I knew that she was the one for me because, first of all, she came in with a skirt down to her ankles. And that's what I'm into. You know what I mean? So she didn't come in with high heels, a short skirt, trying to show off her body, none of those things. She came in covered up. That's number one. And as I spent time with her, building with her, I didn't have a desire for any other woman. I was one of those type of brothers that I swore I would not get married till I was in my 40s. I mean, I was adamant about that. I'm not getting married till I'm 40. I'm not ready. I'm having fun. I'm gonna travel the world. Blah blah blah. But as soon as I met her, that I just knew. And we're not perfect. We're it's a journey, but we're solid. So we're not perfect, but we're solid. You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't mean to make it a long story, but that's basically how we first met.
No, that's beautiful, and it's funny because it kind of parallels how me and my husband met. We both got separated and divorced around the same time. We ended up meeting like a year and a half, 2 years after that. But we didn't, like I said, we were in different states, so we didn't know each other. There was somebody who knew the both of us and kept saying, y'all should get together. And I was cool with him, so I was like, well, I had made up my mind I didn't want to be with anybody. I had just been through some trifling stuff. I was like, no, I'm taking some time to myself, whatever. But he kept on saying it. Now, my husband didn't like dudes, so he was like, look, I ain't talking to anybody that you gonna recommend to me because I don't like you, and since I don't like you, I ain't gonna like her either, so whatever. And it took probably a month or two before he would even talk to me, which was fine because I was kind of reluctant as well, just not because of him. I just didn't want to be with anybody at the time. But we finally started talking and everything clicked, so it was the same thing. I think that's kind of funny how sometimes if you let other people hook you up, people with knowledge, not just, your little degenerate friends or whatever, but somebody who actually is looking at you where you're coming from, a lot of times those can be the best matches.
Indeed. And they know who you really are, not who you portray to be.
Right.
Especially if it's someone close to you, of course.
Yes, sir. Exactly. So you said that you had a lot of counsel with elders and with very wise people. How did you try to work in some of our African traditions into your courtship?
Well, I would say that, after reading Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams, I realized how important it was, number one, how village, speaking about Omawali has this line in a song called Sankofa Kids, individual without a village is just an empty vessel. Mm-hmm. So there's a few things that I learned when I read that book. Number one, how important a village is. And Sabonfu Some, I think I'm saying her name right, in the Spirit of Intimacy, she talks about in that book how people on the West, in Babylon and the wilderness of North America, how we're crazy because we had this perception or this idea that we can handle everything on our own. And on the continent, everything's really about the village. So you got your nuclear family, your extended family, the brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles. Everybody plays a major role. And you can tell by the Proverbs, it takes a village to raise a child and what have you. Right. So that's number one, just having a village. So I'm a member of Mayasa. And also, of course, after when I met the Queen, I came to them, told them about the sister, what do they think, what type of vibe, a sister named Adenike, who I knew since I was 15 years old, and we basically went through the similar journey together, from the nation of gods and earths to now embracing more of the African-centered philosophy, for lack of a better word. So she had to meet her, and kind of, see what type of vibe she gets. So, because that's who we are. We don't make decisions on our own. And don't get it twisted. Don't think that, I'm trying to say that Africans, that we're not unique. But we incorporate nature, we incorporate, rituals, traditions. Some people call it voodoo, like it's a negative thing, but even cards, in the Yoruba culture, they summon the Orishas. So that's basically it. And of course, also in the book, it spoke about having a council of elders. So if you had a situation in your family, I wish I should have had the book in front of me. But it talks about, like, if you can't come to a concrete conclusion for a problem, then you would take it the next step further, which is the elders. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I had to discuss the elders, tell them my situation, certain vices that I had at the time, discuss it, and they had to meet it as well. So I would say that those are probably the two. Well, and one more thing too, having a spiritual system. And when I mean spiritual system, we're not talking about nothing spooky, but just having something that we can be, what's the word that I'm looking for? Basically something to keep us in check. You know what I mean? Like a blueprint. Right. To say, like, listen, this is what we're following. This is the system. You're not acting according to that. A system to hold us accountable. So not only does the village hold you accountable and the elders hold you accountable, but also your spiritual system. You know what I mean? So I would say that those are the things, and it's important. The elders are wise. They can take energy, especially the sisters. You know what I mean? The sisters can just feel the energy.
Yes, sir. I think that's very similar to the Nation of Islam courtship procedure. How it works in the Nation of Islam is that the man does not approach the woman for marriage. He goes to his captain, and then it's relayed through the officials. This brother is interested in you, and you can say, okay, I'll find out more about him, or no. You spend about 3 months or so getting to know each other. Not sexually, getting to know each other on a mental plane or whatever. And you have to investigate. Investigation is the most important. Like, you question constantly. It's like you're in court, like you're a prosecutor, literally, because you have such a short time. And after that 3 months, you pretty much make a decision. Either we're going to get married or we're not. And then you have like 3 to 6 months after that to seal the deal, or else, basically y'all playing around and y'all need to call it quits or whatever. But it's the same concept where, the woman is very guarded and very protected. You don't go straight through to talk to her to try to holler at her or whatever. And you're not to be alone. You're really, even phone calls generally are listened to. Now, that doesn't happen as much nowadays, especially since a lot of us are not in temples or whatever. But you're chaperoned, and everything is very protected to make sure it's kosher. Because as we said, sometimes you get into some trifling situations sometimes, especially, women think we know a lot about men, but we don't. And it only takes a man saying, "Oh, baby, I love you." And you like, "Oh, I love you too." And next thing you know,
right.
it's all over, and you in love, and you done married some fool named Ray Ray.
Right. That's on the couch with a bag of chips and a beer.
Right. Talking about, you going to work today, baby? We got some bills to pay. You going to work?
Exactly. Playing video games all day. But I like that. Especially the chaperone thing, and because it reminds me how on I think it's our second or third date, I forgot. We went to the beach. It was the summertime, so we went to the beach. And she talks about how, she told me straight up, the only reason why she came with me to the beach is because Maruki, which is my partner who introduced us, because she trusts him. So it just reminds me of what you said about the chaperone, or even like going through the captain first. So, you can't just be, just going anywhere with just anybody and nobody knows him. And that's what I'm saying. Like in the West, we have such an individualistic, because, we're infected by this European sickness that you think, you think you by telling someone that you're meeting up with this person and this is where you're going and this is what time you would like to leave, that it's taking away your some type of power or control. I don't understand. And I definitely get it about that time. I got a cousin, man, and she might be listening, but it is what it is. She been with this dude. She just met him like 3 weeks ago, and she already told her son that he has a stepbrother.
Oh,
and then I told her, yo, you crazy for that. You know what I mean? So, the whole this whole romantic fantasy, European perception about love, it just really got both black men and women going crazy.
It is, and it's funny. I was talking about the Nation of Islam courtship, and it made me remember a story that my husband told, because at least I know not everybody is going to abstain until they're married. Some people just ain't on that tip. I understand that completely. But even when you're trying to be righteous or whatever, you can still fall victim, way before you should. I think my husband chaperoned this couple. Was it their first date?
Yes, first date.
Tell this. I gotta have him tell the story because it's hilarious to me.
BB for Hodier, black man.
Peace, God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I want to say I love you, brothers. I pretty much united front. I gave up on rap until my wife put your CD on, brother. You've reinvigorated me in rap. I mean, not even getting to the. Sir.
We appreciate that, big brother. Love you too, man.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir, bro.
Appreciate the support.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely got my support. Yes, sir. But this happened. This was maybe about 16, 17 years ago. And this couple, they did get married after this little situation.
Thank God.
Yeah, me and my ex-wife, we were, chaperoning, which sister talked about courtship. When you go to, you do courtship, you take them to court. You show what you can do for her and what she can do for you, basically just taking them to court.
But this was the first date, so they wasn't in court that long.
This is the first date.
Right.
And, we got set up, we chaperoned them. We weren't supposed to go to the movies, but they just insisted on going to the movies, and I found out why later. So we went to the movies, and we were in the front of the theater, and me and my ex-wife, we were watching them very closely. And the sister was asking me, she's like, "Brothers, anything we can eat here? Anything good?" I said, "Well, we can get Raisinets. Raisinets aren't too bad." So, I told her, I said, "Brother, I'm gonna take my wife. We're gonna go get the Raisinets because my ex-wife had to use the restroom, and we're gonna go, brother. Don't do anything. I'll be right back." And I'll be damned. I was gone for maybe 2 minutes, and some told me to turn around and go back. So I turned around and go back. They done went to the back of the, nobody in the theater but us four. They went to the back of the damn movie theater, and he had taken a shirt off, and man, they was just getting ready to do it until I came back and stopped them. And being the dutiful Muslim that I was back then, I turned them in. I turned them in to the captain. I turned the sister in to the sister captain. Straightened them out. They still ended up getting married, but we lectured them and told them, if you have sex before you're married, it just throws everything off. You don't know what you're getting.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you gotta definitely study their mind, their activities, their vision. it takes time. I definitely totally agree.
Yes.